Hello folks, on this week's episode of America First, we're going to talk about how America and Obama has lost some yes men in Yemen. Also, the withdrawal from Afghanistan might not be going as according to plan, and America's longest war might just last a little bit longer. Stay tuned.
Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba da 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 ba ba ba. Ba da ba 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 da da. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 da ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba ba.
Hello folks again. Now in the intro I had brought up about Yemen, and Yemen has turned into a total mess during this week. What once was two separate countries that got united after the Cold War seems to be splitting apart again. And part of this is going to impact America. For this past several years, America has been pumping money and funds and weapons into Yemen and into the presidency of a former president of Yemen to try to stop terrorism in the Middle East. Remember, before 9/11, there was the bombing of the USS Cole. That happened in the country of Yemen. So this country has been known to have a lot of these issues and terrorists throughout. Well, this week, one of the factions vying for power has just conquered one of the major cities and dissolved the parliament. This is bad news for the Yemeni people. Now for America, this is even worse news because President Barack Obama has hinged a lot of support in his anti-terrorism campaigns in the Middle East based upon this country. It's estimated that over $500 million worth of military aid has gone missing, the Washington Post reports, in Yemen. So those guns and weapons that we sent over there to try to stop terrorists might be in the hands of terrorists now. This is not good news, and this is not putting America first. All these overseas adventures and trying to pump up these very weak leaderships and these weak tyrants in the Middle East is going to have some major blowback, which is not going to be safe for our country. Think about it. $500 million worth of weapons in the hands of people that don't like us and people that overthrew a government that we backed. They are our natural, not our bedfellows, but our natural enemies, because they're going to see us as the enemy because we were backing somebody they did not like. This is bad news. So think about that. President Barack Obama has lost some yes men in Yemen, which is a great alliteration that I'd like to bring up, but it's a very serious situation. That happened in Yemen this week. But also, Afghanistan. Oh my goodness, Afghanistan, America's longest war, seems like it might drag out a little bit more. The administration is refusing to say that the war timetable of leaving of 2016 is going to be delayed. But the new president of Afghanistan, President Ghani, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, wants an extended U.S. military presence. This is not part of the plan. This is not good news. While, yes, combat missions might have stopped, what is he going to be using the president of Afghanistan, the American forces, for? He's trying to delay them from going from 10,000 to 5,000. And this is not something that I think is in America's best interest. We have voted for people consistently to get us out of that treacherous war and that destructive war. It's sucking all of our resources in, our blood and treasure is getting drowned in the deserts of Kabul, and we're trying to deal with it by sending more troops or keeping troops there, what's to hold them back from being in the firefight? It'll be their obligation to get into the firefight if the president that we're backing in Afghanistan requests it. The only way to prevent that from happening is to get our troops and our weapons out of Afghanistan. And this action that's been reported by The Hill is probably not going to help us in an evacuation or us evacuating that country. This is dangerous, this is scary, this is putting American lives and America's future at risk. These two countries and their deepening ties with terrorists and our deepening involvement in them and our continued involvement is not boding well for us. The longest war in American history is a war in Afghanistan. That is outlandish. That's longer than the American War of Independence. And then with Yemen, the fact that we've lost track of $500 million worth of military aid in Yemen, this is dangerous and scary. You have ISIS also rising up in the Middle East, which is responding to the fact that we invaded Iraq and turned it into a very weak shell of a country. Our involvement keeps getting us deeper and deeper into this quagmire, deeper and deeper into a very good analogy, this quicksand. This is the Middle East, and we're talking about places that have a lot of desert, so that's a great way to think about it. We keep trying to tussle, whoomp, 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 our way out, but we keep sinking further in. We have to stand tall. We have to say no. We have to get out. We have to stop all this foolishness. We have to acknowledge that things can be chaotic and destructive while still defending America on our shores through better policing and through better catching of, for instance, illegal immigrants or illegal aliens. That is a great way to try to stop any of these threats from coming to America. As of now, we're seeing a huge threat all around us, but by us getting involved there, it's not going to help us try to lessen and dampen it down. We have to stop it. We have to stop it, and we have to stop giving weapons to places that are so in jeopardy that they fall into the wrong hands. That's what happened with ISIS, if you remember. We gave all the arms to the Iraqi army, and when they engaged them in combat, they dropped and ran. And those weapons were picked up, and they were only dropped once. They're pretty good weapons if you only drop them once. This is dangerous, this is scary. So we have to, in my estimate, we have to try to evac stuff out of Yemen. We have to also stick to our timetable in Afghanistan. If we're supposed to withdraw 5,000 troops by the end of this year, we need to withdraw 5,000 troops by the end of this year. We can't allow the president, a very weak president of Afghanistan, to keep our troops there because he's only using them as a shield to protect himself, which is what got us into the whole trouble in the Middle East in the first place. I thank you very much, and I wish to see you all next week. Bye.
America First Committee, P.O. Box 108, Auburn, New Hampshire 03032, or at my email account, americafirstcommittee@gmail.com, or the Twitter handle @USA First Committee. Thank you.